HBO Max wants Affleck, Leto, and Manganiello for an original Batman project. I'm sorry, Manganiello. I can't. I'm terrible with that name. But hey, this is really great because I want them back for that Batman project too. So here we are at theculturednerd.org, who says, the bat is not dead. Don't bury it. That's the quote from this is something that the movie that Ben Affleck was supposed to do would have been this. Ultimately the story would be a fight between Batman and Deathstroke. And, well, we got cheated out of that. He says he couldn't do it, had to move on and all that. And they wanted to move on with the Matt Reeves, movie. And, that's where things seem to be until recently, because in order for, the Snyder Cut to work in its totality, would be for it to continue the story beyond it. And the Batman movie would have done that. It stands to reason that the only way to fulfill that would be to complete the other stories, provided, of course, that Snyder Cut does well. But even if it doesn't, the Batman film might surpass it anyway, or it might be a series. So this is the situation we're in with HBO Max needing content and also wanting that draw of a series like, what Game of Thrones used to be. So sources close to the cultured nerd have confirmed that HBO wants Ben Affleck along with Jared Leto. And this is the first I'd heard that Joker would be involved in this story, but apparently that was the deal, or it certainly is now. So Leto and Joe will for an original Batman project. This follows reports last week that AT&T and Warner Media want Affleck to return as the Caped Crusader. Affleck is also in talks to return to the director's chair and to adapt his original script, with Zack Snyder producing. There he is. He went back to the closet. Look what's still in Affleck's closet. Wow, what's that doing there? Oh, wait. This... I thought you said you sold that off on eBay. So anyway, the return of Affleck's Batman will either be a miniseries or a DC film on HBO Max. I'm leaning more to, I'm really liking the idea of a miniseries with these things now. And he could be like the showrunner of it as well and oversee all that. And that would be really cool. But I'll take the film too. The thing about the Zack Snyder deal, they kind of left it up in the air if it would be a series, but I think, it's a done deal. It's going to be a series. If it was a film, I think that would probably come a lot sooner. I mean, granted, the outbreak kind of stalls everything. So maybe that's not true in that aspect of it, but I think, it'll just be this film and you'll get to see the cut and that's the end of it. Instead, it's this idea of to fill the needs of HBO Max, and I think the Batman could be like a follow up once they do the Snyder Cut series. Let's just say it's the series. It's what I think they're thinking it would be like 6 episodes. You run that, and then there's a break, and then there's the Batman, or Batman versus Deathstroke, whatever they would call it. And it continues the story for, it's Batman and primarily, but it continues that story as a spinoff, sort of speak. And then you get back to Justice League later for new projects and new series. So anyway, it would be HBO Max, and Warner Bros. would be produce the Matt Reeves, the Batman trilogy in theaters. So I guess that's another, I hadn't heard not whether or not it was completely confirmed, but I guess maybe it is. And maybe they're doing this sort of thing where they film them all at once. I don't know. And so you'd have this trilogy of this other alternate universe, of Batman, and with Warner Brothers embracing the multiverse aspect of DC Comics, that would work. Will that work for the movie audience? Will there be confusion? Well, time will tell. It seems likely there would be, to some degree, but would it be enough to hurt the project? Well, let's hope not. But, I don't know what to make of what I'm seeing from the Matt Reeves. I like the Batmobile, but that's about it. I don't particularly like the outfit they got for him. And I wanted to see the completion of the Ben Affleck Batman. And if I could get that, then I'd be more open to another Batman. But I guess maybe we'll get both, and I'll take it. But sometimes it's like, well, there's too much Batman, and that could be a problem too. But anyway, Affleck's project will likely follow the intended storyline teased by the post-credit scene of Justice League, or Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's right, because when it was announced that it will be released, see, Joe Manganiello, who is Deathstroke in the film, see, that's him right there, says the original end-credit scene. So, that's right. Zack Snyder did shoot this with him there. There was this post-credit scene with him talking to Lex Luthor. But the Lex Luthor lines were reshot because it had to fit in with what they were hoping. If this Justice League was a smash hit, then you probably never would have heard of Zack Snyder's cut again. Maybe like some documentary thing or tacked on to the Blu-ray or what have you. But that would have been it. But this was a setup for a Legion of Doom movie that would be a Justice League sequel. But it didn't work out that way. So the footage was done, but it's different, and it sets up Ben Affleck's Batman movie. So, from what we have heard in the past, Affleck's original The Batman script featured Arkham Asylum, Joker, Deathstroke, and more of Batman's rogue gallery. If Affleck is back in the cowl, then getting Leto&Maganiello to reprise their roles of Joker and Deathstroke, respectively, would be key. Now, I'm thinking Deathstroke would be more of the main villain than the Joker, but it would stand to reason as he was introduced in Suicide Squad, the Joker would have some role, especially if it involves going through Arkham Asylum and all of that. Then it'd probably be where Joker is an inmate there, along with the other Batman villains. So, the DC Extended Universe is branching out to multiple mediums, from feature films, television, miniseries, and animated series to comics. Well, comics is where it came from, but yeah, we can, and we will have more than one interpretation of Batman at the same time. It will work. Well, yeah, I hope so. It works in the comic books. It certainly does. And it stands to reason that you just get that across, then there shouldn't be too much confusion, but there is that risk. The audience is smart enough to grasp the multiverse, and we are ready for it. Well, yeah, the DC audience, the comic book audience, yeah, but you got to branch beyond that. And hopefully they're right, and overall, it should make its money. And if it does, it doesn't really matter, does it? You can do both. With Zack Snyder's Justice League coming out in 2021, news of Henry Cavill closing in on a new Superman contract, talks of Ray Fisher getting a Cyborg HBO Max series. The return of Batfleck would be the next domino to fall for the return of the Snyderverse in the DC Extended Universe. And so, yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory. I believe AT&T tweeted this and then deleted it. So, yeah, there's something to this to some extent. It just depends on, does Affleck want to? He seemed rather enthusiastic in some interviews and rather positive about how much he enjoyed working with Zack Snyder and the times he spent on Batman versus Superman, that he really enjoyed doing that. Some bad times came for him personally into that, which would have happened whether he was playing Batman or not. And, but the stress of all of that, was taking its toll on the man, but he seems to be in a better place now. And to have this unfinished work laying around and a shot to complete it, even in this, different format, hopefully, he's up for that, because I think he did a damn good job as Batman. He, didn't get quite the right story, I don't think. Batman vs. Superman, as much as I enjoyed elements of it, I find it very flawed, even the Ultimate Cut. But I want to see his film, so maybe we'll get that too. Along with Cyborg, that was talked about and then forgotten about. And, I believe, I remember hearing rumors that there were even discussions of using the Snyder Cut footage for his film, because there's a lot there for his story. But now the Snyder Cut will come in a more complete form, for HBO Max, so they could get yet another series out of Snyder Cut. with Cyborg. And then Flashpoint, I mean, I'm assuming they're still pursuing that as a theatrical film, but maybe that could just be a series. Boy, if they could do an actual Flashpoint. And then when Affleck has wrapped up his Batman story, Flashpoint could replace with yet another Batman. So many Batmen. But you could really give the story its due, stretched out over a series on HBO Max. Boy, there's all sorts of possibilities here, isn't there? We'll have to wait and see. So anyway, there we go. Looking forward to more about. Hopefully this is true. I want it to be true so bad, so I am biased in this, but it makes a lot of sense that this is something you'd want to pursue. And if they can get Ben Affleck to do it, then that would be spectacular. All right. Thank you for watching and listening. Say why not like and subscribe and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. You know, the usual hats, mugs, shirts, artwork, and all. Plus, you can get a copy of my comic book Night Night over at indieplanet.com. Yes, Night Night, based on the audio plays of the same name that are featured regularly in my podcast, Mr. Nailsin Show, over on RadioMisfits.com. New episodes every Saturday. And, of course, you can also watch my videos on that other video platform, BitChute. Yes, that's the Mr. Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.